Please visit www.creativecommons.org. This presentation also contains adult language and adult themes.
Teachers, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wayne in his white windowless van. Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. Alright, I gotta check it out right now. Are you guys hearing an echo? Because I am.
Yes, we
very
are.
Much.
That has got to be the streams.
I thought that was your announcer voice. I was very impressed.
My echo, 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 echo. If only that were the case. What happens is this is having the virtual cables on for too long. So just a second, everything will sound like nothing.
Yeah.
As I turn this on for everything. So yeah, so unfortunately, interwebs and technology don't like to play nice every time, and thus messing up my beautiful introduction that was going to be lovely and perfect, and you piece of So
Scrap it, didn't happen.
Yeah, no. As I was saying, we're a professional show here on Show X. But no, we would like to welcome everybody to a special show today on this, the 3rd of August, Sunday. What are we on? It's 2014. Wait, I got my spiel here. It's 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT on a Sunday. And we are joined today by special guest, geek aficionado, the lovely, the lustrous, wonderful Miss Molly Lewis.
Hey.
Hey, glad you to join us. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Thank you very much. And for anybody who isn't checking it out, because yes, I've gotten at least some parts of the technology to work for us today, and with those, you can watch on the video wall. Check us out on our YouTube link for VTW shows, and you'll be able to watch the lovely Miss Molly as well as both Ken and I, which, not that we matter in this case. So anyhow, let us go ahead and get things started off. We like to do things right here, and we'll go ahead and jump in with just a little bit, because we have so much more to talk about with
functional deviations.
So try and keep it short and clean here, Ken. What have you been doing that's not been geeky in the last week?
Well, sir, through here in Scotland, we have the Commonwealth Games on right now, and I live right next to the city of Glasgow. So we've had over 1 million people fly in and come visit us here in Scotland, which is a little bit crazy. 1 million people. For our tiny little city here, that's quite a lot, considering some cities in your country over there are bigger than our population of Scotland. So, 1 million people is quite a fair bit. But other than that, I've just been up to the normal stuff. Nothing particularly exciting that I want to go on about too long. So, that's all from me, sir.
That sounds good, although it is kind of interesting because I know we've talked about Glasgow many times in the past, and that's kind of a shady town, isn't it?
We've got kind of a bad reputation here in Glasgow. It was once the capital of Scotland, and back then, when we had all of our swords and chainmail and the likes, it was probably shadier than it is now, I'd say. But we've got kind of a bad reputation. I think the tourism that's come with the Commonwealth Games has probably made the town even better than before, because, they've spent about £62 million, something like $110 million, on security alone. So it's quite a nice city at the moment.
Yeah, much nicer than normal, I understand. So with that, let's see. Myself, I've been busy as always. I don't know if I've been doing anything not geeky, because I just recently did, this weekend is the tail end of a Game Fest weekend, so I've been hosting a LAN party again. So everything prior to that leading up was getting ready for said Game Fest. But that makes it easy. It means we'll be able to transition quickly. But before we do, Molly, is there anything you would like to tell everyone about that hasn't been geeky that you just like to let them know what you've been doing?
I'd like to tell you, Wayne, that there's a dude in your door behind you, like in your doorway. I just don't want you to get stabbed.
That's one of our good friends here at Unit, one of my locals. So at the tail end of this Game Fest, people are essentially packing up their rigs to make their way out. Normally, I keep the rig down in the basement. We do a live show, including a lot of my friends here, as we talk about how our gaming experience over the weekend's been. Although many of them run away first thing on a Sunday because they're scared to be online and for people to hear them. Oh no! So I'm actually surprised they're lingering in the background to.
You're being photobombed right now. Oh man.
So yeah, anything else though that you've been doing that has been geeky before we talk about all the many things you've been doing that have been?
I mean, I went to Disneyland like 4 times last week, but I'm not sure if that's
cool.
Is that geeky or not. I feel like it is.
Disneyland or Disney World?
Disneyland.
Oh.
I was adjacent to Disney World. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I don't know if that is that a geeky. The way I do it is actually kind of geeky. The way I go to Disneyland, so I'm not sure if that fits in this section.
No, so that's the funny part. We tend to like tread on it all the time because we are just such geeks as a whole.
Yeah.
That trying to define one thing as being geeky or not becomes this whole challenge for us. But I'm curious. Well, you live out in California, correct?
Yes, I live in Seattle now, but I grew up out there.
Ah, you grew up in. Okay, gotcha. So you're in Seattle now. Well, because I grew up in San Diego, and so for me, my family used to go up to Disneyland all the time, at least once a year, if nothing else. It was great, wonderful. So what took you there multiple times recently?
Well, my family is moving from Orange County to like north of LA County, and so I kind of did the math last Christmas, and I was like, this is like the last year that I'll be able to just crash on my mom's couch after I go to Disneyland.
Ah.
And so I bought a pass, and my friend Ken, it was his birthday, and he was like, he's from South Carolina, and he was like, I want to go to Disneyland, god darn it. And so
Kens do love Disneyland, that's true. I can attest to that.
And so we went twice, like right before Comic-Con, and then once the Monday after. And it was real nice because I grew up like 20 minutes away, so it was basically like a neighborhood park for me. And I know all like the ride spiels and all that stuff. It felt nice and familiar.
No, see, that's awesome because I used to go to Disneyland so often that I kind of had my way of attending that, people who hadn't been with me before, I don't know, the people who don't go or aren't local have their own way of doing things where they make it the big resort experience, stuff like that. For me, my family would go for one day at a time. And so when we'd go that one day, we had to maximize it. And so I'd be there as soon as the rope dropped on Main Street each morning and then rush first thing to Tomorrowland to be able to catch the ride so I could start with Space Mountain, then hit the Matterhorn, then hit, like all the big ones, Thunder
Mountain,
all the
mountains,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah, so you hit all the mountains before the massive queues started in the rest of the day where you might get another 3 or 4 real rides in because of all the lines. And so
Did you get real good at like strafing around strollers and things? Because I'm very good at that. And it really comes in handy at cons, surprisingly.
Oh,
Like a ninja.
Yeah, just strafing through a crowd aggressively, like silently.
Oh no, I was very good at that. Of course, it was bad because my whole family, there were 6 of us running around, so it was this kind of mass of people intertwined between everyone else in the crowds because we didn't have any strollers and we didn't have a whole bunch of kids on leashes and things like that. We could just kind of jet. And as a family, we knew we're going right here. Don't mess around. As soon as they do their intro spiel, we got to hit these rides first. And so no, we were very good at that. So do you have a certain way that you hit the parks, that you go in there and an order of the rides you have to hit, or things that if you don't catch that, like the Haunted Mansion or something, then it just hasn't been a day at Disney?
I pretty much jet for Space Mountain because they have the Fast Pass thing now, and
Yes.
so I'll get a Fast Pass. And then if the ride is the line for like just the normies is like less than 30 minutes, I'll get in line. But I'll have to hit up Pizza Port. And Captain EO was actually a mainstay, and it's not there anymore.
Gosh, I used to love going to that.
I know. I have a shirt. Actually, it's not clean right now, but like I really wanted a flying like butterfly hamster more than anything else when I was a kid.
Oh yes, that was one of their best gimmicks for the 3D that they did back in the day. For anyone who didn't get to see it, Captain EO was one of the best, just like traditional old school 3D where they pop things out at you at the screen. And it was done by Disney, and it was Michael Jackson. It was a whole, group of monsters that they'd created. And it was probably Jim Henson, I'm not sure. Who created all these little monsters and stuff going on. It was actually surprisingly good, if nothing else, campy fun.
It's one of those things. I think it was like 1986 or something when they made it, and it sounds fake. Like if you haven't seen it, you say no, it's Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas, and they made a 3D movie with Michael Jackson and Angelica Houston and some puppets, and you go, what? You made that up?
Yeah, that never happened. What are you talking about? And the problem is you couldn't have seen it unless you went to Disneyland.
And that's kind of a big. You can't like just here I have it on tape, boink.
Exactly.
Doesn't work that way.
Yeah, no, that makes me smile a lot because that's one of my childhood memories. That's just very warm for me from Disneyland. And I don't want to get into it because I have this whole rant kind of thing as you and you'll talk about when it comes to Disney World, because having grown up in California, I compare the two parks, and I don't know. I admittedly I tend to lean west towards what I grew up with. There's just something about the flow
It's that
of the park
nostalgia
that I really
factor,
like.
isn't it? Just because you had it before, and therefore you want it again.
Well, Disneyland is kind of the zip file version of Disney World, you know? Like, it's like the difference between, like, the suburbs of, like, Texas and Manhattan in terms of density. And, you know, like how in Manhattan you walk, like, 100 feet and you're like, I'm in a totally different part of town. How did that happen? And Disneyland is very much the same way. More bang for your buck, I would say.
That's exactly the point, because in Disney World, while yes, they have essentially all the same rides, you have to go to all the different parks, and and they spread them out, because I was so used to growing up going to Disneyland and having it just like, I could go to the park at every major attraction that you knew was a mainstay of Disney, and not have to go anywhere else until they added California Adventure, but then it was mostly just coasters, and so it's just fun and, all that. Whereas Disney World...
When they added California Adventure, it was like, I gotta walk to another park.
Yeah,
and that
even
was
though
like,
it's just across the shopping district, the little main street there, it's like, oh no, but it's out of the park.
Meanwhile, people in Florida are like, you wimps.
Yeah, exactly. Are you kidding?
I can't say I've ever been to Disneyland in the US. I've been to Disney World in the US, and I've been to Disneyland Paris. But when I was in Disneyland Paris, I was, how old? 7 years old? And I don't know about you guys, but my memories of childhood are pretty much gone, apart from food. I'm that kind of guy. So I can tell you what kind of hot dog I had there, but I can't tell you anything about the rides. It's something I'll have to experience when I'm in the US, Disneyland.
It is so good. All right, so with that, we'll go ahead and transition to things that have been geeky, because that's close to the heart and part of the reason we have you on with us today. And so with that, I will do the nice transition where I jump this over and I talk about things that we're going to talk about.
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
And so this week on Geek Cred, Ken, what have you been doing that is worthy of talking about and leveling up your geek?
Oh, well, so let me give a shout out to the IRC first. We have a bunch of people in there shouting out love to you, by the way, Molly. We have Hando saying, hi, Molly, we love you!
Hi.
And we have Roxy. You actually met Roxy before when you were on the Indeed podcast on VTW previously.
Sweet.
She's one of the listeners of those guys, and she says, Molly, you rock socks! I think you met her at a musical thing one time as well. I'm not sure. I'm sure she'll
It's
give
very
the story in the
possible.
IRC. At
Well,
some
because
point.
she's out from Seattle as well, and so she goes to Emerald City Comic Con and all those things, and so yes,
Yeah.
they're very much more local to you, all the Indeed guys.
Yeah, but in terms of geeky stuff, I don't know. I've been playing some games here and there. I played Thief, bought that on Steam this week, and I've been checking that out. I was kind of surprised because, for me, normally every single game works fine on my computer ever since I got my SSD. But Thief, when I put on the high 16 times texture, etc., it didn't seem to work out quite so well. So I've been having some technical problems there. So I've only played half an hour or so, but I'm enjoying it so far. I played some League of Legends. And what else have I played? Oh, jeez. Not much, to be honest. I've not played much in the way of games. A bit of Minecraft here and there as well. Nothing crazy, though. Nothing crazy at all. I've picked up some new games. Like I said, I picked up Thief, and I actually picked up Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3, talking with nostalgia. Those were some of my favorite games on PlayStation 1. And I saw that they were available on GOG.com for £3 each or so. So I picked up those, started playing it. And it turns out PlayStation controls don't transfer well to the computer. I have learned this.
What?
So
The mouse input wasn't just nice and smooth like it would be with a thumbstick?
No, there's no mouse input, you see. It's all keyboard.
Oh,
Yeah.
gross.
So I'm running around trying to use like arrow keys. Spacebar was jumping and shooting.
What?
Ooh.
So that was fun. Trying to kill a tiger while just standing on the spot, shooting up and down. It's very, very pro tactics right there. So I enjoyed that for a good 7 or 8 minutes, and then stopped playing it promptly. Maybe if I can get a pad connected to something I can enjoy in the future. But I've been doing some of that, and I've also played a little bit of Trine with some friends. I love Trine. It's such a pretty game. It is so freaking pretty, and it's cheap and a great story, and just it's fantastic.
That
It's a good,
multiplayer,
9
yes,
out of
no,
10.
Trine's wonderful. It's anything that has that hand-drawn kind of artistic look to it is such a wonderful experience these days, and the music behind this good ambiance and things, very cool.
Oh, definitely. And I love the fact that I can somehow manage to kill Hando and Roxy over and over in the game, even though it's not PvP.
So you play Trine exactly how you play Magicka then, where it's not
Yes.
about actually doing a co-op game where you play with friends to get through a challenge, but more to see how often you can troll them and make their experience less enjoyable so that you can giggle.
No. You see, that's my artificial way of upping the difficulty level, because I think the game by itself is far too easy, so now I'm against players as well, and they don't even know it. So it adds to the experience tenfold, and, hearing their screams also helps a lot.
Yeah, you're
So
such a good friend that way, Ken.
I know.
Anything else that was big deal this week for Geek so that we can get to the meat of why we have this show today?
I picked up my guitar for the first time about 2 weeks today. I think I was inspired by having a musician on the show, so I played a little bit of that. And by the way, Molly, just FYI, while we're on the topic, I know about half of your songs off by heart on guitar. Just saying.
Awesome.
How cool am I? Yeah.
Listen to you. Yeah, you dork.
Right.
Yeah,
So that's my
he
piece.
says this, and it usually takes us a massive challenge to get him to show any of it to us on air. So,
That's how I go.
all right. So
Trying
from
do I high five you over here? Yeah. Like,
yeah,
sort
it's
of.
there you go.
It's sort of this Brady Bunch
is
thing
it-
I'm trying to figure out here.
No,
Other
no,
way.
see, you're going the wrong way.
Wait.
Ken. There, yeah,
There it
yeah.
is.
There it is. Yeah, outstanding. Real-time video effects. That's wonderful.
That's my
So,
by the way.
no, that is good, Ken, and a proper bit of geek cred for you this week. Myself, I've been gaming a lot. I'm going to be very brief about it because, of course, it was a game fest, and I think we didn't have as large a group as normal, where I think there were only about 15 of us playing overall, but we had 12 of us that yesterday we did a tournament for our first time. And the only thing I want to bring up about that is because friends of mine who are amazing went so far as you can maybe see in the background these shiny bits that I have on my desk. And they went so far as to make trophies for our little LAN party that we had for the first time, where we actually competed against each other and kept score. And I have 4 trophies back there because, not to toot my own horn, I guess, but I guess I am. I won all of those for the groups. And so I won
Nice.
trophies for our real-time strategy gaming, our racing gaming, which makes me very happy, as well as our arcade gaming, where we played both Frogger and... Let's see, it was Frogger, and what was the other one we played on the arcade? Oh, Miss Pac-Man. And so I got the highest scores in both those games. But,
So you hosted a LAN party and then won most of the trophies? That seems kind of suspect.
so, and it's bad, too. I know, that comes up where it's like, and people sort of were saying that home field advantage, right? I did not organize the actual tournament part of it, but many people underestimated that I am a really old school game geek that's been playing stuff forever. And then what we also came up with, and then this will be my last bit, is we kind of had a championship trophy they came up with that they wanted to model after the Stanley Cup, in the sense that, so that it's a big thing that says the Game Fest trophy for championships, and then on the side they put the name of whoever won it as well as when they won. So a little thing, and it's great because they went so far as to find little headers to it like this, where it's got a computer little sitting on top
that
of
is
it.
really
So,
cool.
yeah. So
So was that 3D printed, that, or?
no, although I have talked about with my 3D printer maybe in the future doing the name placards that way and such. And I guess I can do that little bit of geek cred, and I'll leave it at that, and then we will get to Molly again, where I showed you in the beginning, Ken, I was working on my biggest 3D print project now, and so I have pieces that I fit together here, where as you put them together, some people have been able to suddenly kind of figure out what it is I'm working on.
I
as you
did
get
notice straight
the
away.
main
It's a
parts
codpiece.
together. It
Okay, no.
does have a bit of armor, but when you add this little side piece to it, you can start to make out the shape that tends to look.
Still a
Oh.
codpiece.
I need to print bigger parts. Oh wait.
Just
So, but yes, I'm working on a Master Chief Spartan helmet that unfortunately I don't think will fit my massive head, but it's worth the attempt, and I'm very
To be fair, your head's about treble as big as it could be due to the, massive, ever-growing frotion.
I know what you said, but it sounded like you said your head is a tribble, which is even better.
No, that works. We had a contest. Well, I don't say we had a contest. Certain members of the audience had a contest to try to name my growth of hair, as I haven't cut my hair in over a year now, and everyone was surprised by that. And so it was the Frosian, I think, is what they came up with, and then no, but that's quite good to give it the triple effect. Although thankfully, I don't think it multiplies nearly as quickly.
Sadly.
You put it near somebody else's head and...
Oh, it's so bad. Yeah, no,
That'd be
there's
the
a
best
whole
superpower.
there's a whole gimmick going with it. Although I use this hair in for my own benefit lately, because I try to do some cosplays at our conventions, and being here that I'm located in Denver, we had Denver Comic Con recently, and so I used it both for I do a Shepherd book cosplay where I'm able to pull it all back and get the ponytail almost just right, and then I did a male version of Storm where I put it up straight and painted it all white. As well as the context and everything like that. That came out all right. So, and my next one being Mugen from Samurai Champloo, but I don't know if this hair will work for it. We'll see.
Come on, sir. Show off your geek cred of the past year with Miss Molly here. Tell her what you did that was so cool. What you won.
Oh, what did I win? Which thing?
Including the tweet.
Oh, so no, that was just a wonderful occasion where at the convention there were a group of gals, lovely gals who had dressed as female versions of the Firefly crew. And in doing so, they didn't have a shepherd, so they pulled me into the group with them to take photos. They posted that to Mr. Nathan Fillion, who picked it up and retweeted it out to all of his fans, as well as to Joss Whedon and everyone saying, "Oh, I would love to fly on that crew." And so I just happened to be in the group of some very lovely gals, had nothing to do with me.
Oh, shush. He had the most amazing cosplay, and clearly it paid off when Mr. Nathan Fillion even says so. I mean, come on.
I said it wasn't me, but anyhow, so I won't get into too much more because I'm hoping to get everybody out there that I'll do another follow-up Game Fest show with all the guys from Game Fest. We'll go and do a special episode so they can talk about the tournament, what they enjoyed, and how that all went this last weekend. And instead, focus on things that have been a little more true and dear to everyone's hearts with Molly, the things you've been doing geeky this week, or just in general, as well as things coming up.
I've been out of the house for 2 weeks because I did San Diego Comic-Con. And packed some Disneyland in before that. And I was not part of Wootstock this year, but I got to hang out backstage, as is
awesome.
the sort of continuing privilege of Wootstock alums. And I played a show with Marion Call on Friday at Rebecca's Coffee, which was neat. It was the hottest venue in the world, and I really appreciate the people. I was schwitzing like a schmendrick. It was no good. But the show itself was good, I hope. Even it looked like I was working a lot harder than I was, and that's kind of what I strive for. But backstage at Wootstock, actually, I got to meet Craig Ferguson, who at a couple of years ago, when I debuted the Stephen Fry song at Wootstock, Adam Savage was like, "Hey, I have a friend who is a friend of Stephen Fry who could send the video along if you wanted." And I went, "Well, yeah, it's probably better that he finds out through a friend than through just the internet." And then I found out somebody emailed me a couple months later, just cold, and said, "Hey, I sent your Fry song to Fry," and he emailed me back and said, "Oh yeah, Craig Ferguson showed me that a couple months ago," and I went like, and
yes,
so people were telling Stephen Fry. That is freaking cool.
And that Craig Ferguson was the official, the first. He drew first blood, I guess.
Nice.
And so on Thursday, I got to thank him. I said, "I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago, you sent my song to Stephen Fry." And he went, "Yes! And I understand you got to sing it to him. Have you had his sperm yet?" And I went, "No."
Oh, that's wonderful.
So I feel like that's. I mean, I still haven't heard back from Stephen Fry either in the affirmative or the negative. But it's my understanding
maybe one day.
Yeah, it's my understanding that I'm the first in line, so that's pretty good.
So while we're on the topic, let me query you. Let me pick your brain here. So first of all, when you were playing in front of him and all those hundreds of people and TV and YouTube, etc., how freaking nervous were you?
I was really nervous, and I played that song at enough Wootstocks that I had it in the muscle memory space.
Yes.
So I just kind of got to tune out, because you can kind of take a back seat and your hands will just kind of keep doing the song.
Yeah.
And so I was just sitting there going is this okay? How is he? Okay, he's into it. He seems to be into
It
it.
must be so scary, because it could have gone two ways, right? It could have been, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen, or Who let this girl in here?
There's actually a video that Harvard, the people who organized the event, released where they have the from the board audio, and so you hear me go, "Hello, Mr. Fry. My name is Molly," and he goes, "I know." And I knew because Adam and Craig Ferguson and
Sure.
stuff, I knew that he had heard the song, which I think made it a little easier. Because if it was like,
Oh gosh, if that was the first time.
I feel like I could see him bracing for like the punchlines a little bit. Like I think he was familiar enough. Yeah, so I kind of, and I actually talked to some of the people that were organizing the event. I asked them earlier in the day, like, do I address this song to the audience or do I sing it like to him? And they went, you should sing it to him, because like when else is that going to make sense? And he like made eye contact and he turned super purple.
At the very end, I know he came over and he kissed you on the cheek. I bet you weren't expecting that either. Or on the forehead.
No,
sorry, yeah.
and I saw him like step back from the podium and I went, is he gonna punch me? Is he gonna tell me no? What is gonna? And so I figured, well, I just gotta let this happen, I guess. And so I stepped towards center stage and he says, thank you so much, and kisses me on the forehead.
Aww.
And then I take his hand as he's walking away and I say, obviously it's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer.
I say you didn't give him like the obvious wink and said unless.
Yeah. You don't have to answer, but you know.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
You know what I mean?
No, that sounds so awesome.
Yeah.
It was pretty great, and my favorite part was getting to tell the internet that it was gonna happen because it was the student organization that did not have the money to fly me out as much as they wanted to. And so they said, if you can get yourself to Cambridge, we can put you up somewhere and we can put you in the room with Fry and it'll be great. But we can't like announce it until you have a plane ticket. And they also needed to check with his management, who turns out is his sister. So I think that helped a little bit in my favor.
Yeah, I'm sure she was like, oh, this will be great fun.
This will be
hilarious.
He'll enjoy this. So I had to go to my fans and say, hey, internet, I need $900 for a plane ticket, and I can't tell you why until I get it, but it's going to be awesome, so could you just help me out? And my fans go, sure.
That is so nice. Oh, we have great fans with us as well, and so it's wonderful we can turn to them and kind of say, interwebs, please, can you help me do something wonderful? And they have.
Yeah.
So that's
They gave us $7 once. Yeah.
No, I was thinking more of when they helped friends of our show like Roxy with her medical condition and stuff like that. You silly boy.
Yeah.
So that is fantastic. That is some of the coolest geek cred I've ever heard, I gotta say. So another couple questions for you while we're here. Let me do the generic interview thing here. Let's do this. So.
Alright, ready.
Yeah. First of all, we've had the double clicks before, and we've had you, we've had Jim Butcher before, and thanks again for coming on. We do really appreciate it. We love your music. It is really freaking cool. We love the humor behind it. We love how you are a good musician. You're melodic. You know how to do it. You got the skill behind it as well. Were you expecting to become the world-renowned geek that you are now?
No, I was on a panel at LeakyCon about this very thing.
Oh.
The first video that I posted that went viral was a cover that I did of Toxic, the Britney Spears song. And the reason that whole thing happened is I played it at my high school talent show, and some of my friends that couldn't make it to the show heard, like, oh, Molly did this ukulele thing, it was rad. And so they said, hey, you should bring your ukulele to school and you should play it for us. And I went, I'm not going to play my ukulele in front of humans ever again. I know what I'll do. I'll put it on YouTube. And then some friends of mine put it on Dig, and it went from like, 1,000 views to like 300,000 in like an afternoon. And so I went, oh, darn, there's an audience for this outside of my high school. Well,
Well,
and I was never.
Saw it.
Well,
Yeah,
with
people
that,
saw it, they were
with
into
that, when you started getting all the different views on YouTube and really started picking up like that, how was it one that you kind of found out that it was going so big, and what were your initial thoughts when you're kind of like, oh, this is bigger than your high school?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of knew. I hung out with like the geeks and the honors kids when I was in high school. I remember the kids that played Magic did not belong to any group. They all wore like leather top hats and would just sit in front of the art building. and just scream. And I remember thinking,
Those
I don't know
kind
what
of
that game
guys.
is. I'm not sure. And then later I would learn to play Magic and find out, oh, this is actually awesome. But
And
like,
you don't have to wear a top hat.
you don't have to wear a top hat. I thought it was requisite. And the screaming, none of that's a thing. You know, I kind
Well
of,
done, sir.
there it is. See?
Say, what's wrong with the top hat, Ken? No.
You just need to put a card down and go, oh, like that, and you'd be those guys. But like, I kind of knew, like, I knew I wanted to go to college, but I didn't know what I would do afterwards, and I kind of did not know what job would be out there that I would be qualified for. You know, like, I couldn't see myself at a desk. I just didn't like any of that stuff. And then I went, oh, darn. There's this dude out there, Jonathan Colton, who is writing like nerdy funny songs and is making money doing it. Maybe I could do that. And I didn't. The nice thing about the internet music biz is that when I thought of like, oh, what does it mean to be like a lady singer-songwriter, sort of indie person, it's just kind of cold contacts to venues and playing in the corner of like cafes and bars, and that just sounded like a nightmare.
Yeah, somebody please notice me.
The tips by my albums, and it's this kind of extrovert's job, but the internet allows introverts to do that too, because I can just reach out to fans and be like, yo, you have a house, can I play a show in your house?
Nice.
Which is great, because then I don't have to annoy strangers with my music, which is the thing I'm afraid of the most.
Going to some random bar and it turns out nobody there wants to hear it. Yeah, that's
Nobody knows who Mr. T is, nobody wants to hear about
Oh,
Stephen
no.
Fry. Like,
Blasphemy, jeez.
Yes, if anybody doesn't know who Mr. T is, then you're in the wrong neighborhood.
they are not worth playing for, no.
Definitely. Oh, that's amazing, though. We've got a few questions from the IRC. Got one from Mr. Hando again. Question from Molly. What is her favorite game now? So what? I'm assuming it's a video game then.
Ooh, well, I can do both. My favorite board game right now is Cash and Guns, which they just did a reprinting of, which I'm very excited about.
I don't actually know what that is.
It's
no, I was gonna say I have not played Cash and Guns.
It is. I think it's an Italian game. I think. And it literally involves like foam pistols, and it's a bluffing game where you are all mobsters who are splitting the till from a recent heist, and
Gotcha.
you have to bluff each other out, and so you'll go 1, 2, 3, and you have to point these guns at each other, and if somebody is like, if you basically have to kind of play your odds, like what is the likelihood that I'll get shot, and you have a deck of cards that is just the bullets that are in your gun.
Uh-huh.
And so you'll decide if you're going to fire a blank, like, I wasn't going to shoot you, yeah, schmutz, you know, like, whatever. It's a really great icebreaker, and it doesn't, like, because I really like the Resistance and Coup as well, but the Resistance tends to break friendships, you know, and Cash and Guns is not quite that intense.
So that's like Monopoly, yeah.
Yeah, and my favorite video game right now, we have a touch screen computer, like a little monitor for and so it's the best for Papers, Please. Like, it is great.
Oh, nice.
And I just, it seems like it will become my favorite game. We just downloaded Crypt of the Necrodancer, which I'm quite excited about. I'm trying to find, I thought we had a dance pad, but I don't think we do, so I'll just have to play it with like a D-pad, like a schmutz.
Ah, gotcha.
That's not the word I meant to use, but...
I love that you use the word schmutz. That's fantastic. I've
Yeah,
never heard anybody else use it, like...
I think I meant
In
schmutz,
context?
but, yeah. I'm just throwing the Yiddish words around today, schwitzen like a schmendrick, and
in a Yiddish mood.
That's wonderful.
great.
You're adding a lot more culture to the show than we normally do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All we have is the Scotch drinking over here normally. So I've got another one for you here. Do you think geek music will receive a surge with all the new Weird Al stuff going on?
the new Weird Al stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I'm kind of excited about whatever he does after this album because he's done with his record contract, and so if he decides to use Bandcamp or Patreon or some sort of indie sort of music platform, whatever that platform is, will get a boost. But I sense that Weird Al plans all of his moves very carefully, and so I'm very curious to see where he goes. Because I noticed with the 8 music videos in a week thing that he did, none of them were produced by the same web company, which is really savvy, and I was very impressed with that.
Yes, and they all had their own look and feel, and just and one to have that many videos ready to go.
Yeah.
All at essentially the launch time. That took a lot of foresight and planning. And to have the talent that he had involved in all of the videos, which was amazing too. So interesting.
Yeah, just everyone had its own kind of flavor, and I'm just very impressed with. I'm really curious to see what he does next because he's talked about not putting out albums so much anymore and putting out singles when they are still kind of in the zeitgeist, like single parodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so if Weird Al uses Patreon or something, that would be nuts. I don't
Like you said, no, it'd become a
before.
it'd be a huge boost to anyone else out there that's using those kind of services, and it marks it yet again where you don't need a large company to be able to get you out in front of people anymore, and so you don't have to incur the cost or losing some of the ownership you have of your own intellectual property to these big organizations. Well, you don't have to sell your soul like you used to just to get on store shelves kind of deal.
Yeah, and Weird Al is definitely a cult artist that had a major label and major label resources behind him. And so I'm interested to see what he does with that momentum. And the new album's really good, you guys.
Yes it is. The fact that it went #1 for the first time for him ever, that's exciting by itself, because it's one of those things. You always listen to Weird Al. You always know what he's doing. It's great because he's just funny and such. But to see him get that much legitimate recognition for his work, especially this late in his career, is, I thought, really astounding. Because he's been doing this forever now, since the 80s.
Yeah.
Such a brilliant artist.
That contract he just got off was like, what, 15 albums?
Wow,
That's
was
crazy.
It that many?
He signed it when he was like younger than me, I think, and I'm like 24.
So, wow,
that's like half of his life. On the same
to be under
contract.
that same thing.
Yeah.
And at least it got him where it was and got us such great music to listen to. So.
Yeah. And he didn't like crank him out just to get the contract over with. Like every one of them's a gem.
Oh yes,
that's true. And you mentioned you're 24 there. I just had a flashback to the fact that I must have started listening to you about 5 years ago, because I remember you started playing and you couldn't play at certain gigs because there was drinking in the place, so you couldn't do it there. Oh my god, I suddenly feel like time's flown by.
Yeah, and like a lot of my earlier videos, especially the songs that are on my first album, I recorded them in like college classrooms. Like I would go in at like 5 before they locked up the building, and I would like force myself, like, I gotta record this dumb Wikipedia song. I can't leave. And like the Poker Face video is over like 3 different classrooms, but I just went into the music building and I was like, I need a piano. Here's a piano. This one's not in tune. I need another piano.
What did you actually study, by the way? Was it music?
It wasn't music. I actually have very little formal musical training. My mom was a music teacher, so I have a lot of that just kind of in the background. It's the background radiation of my life. But I studied English, writing, rhetoric, and composition. English was always my best.
Very useful for that.
Right? I mean, Regina Spektor writes about books a lot, so I figure, what's going on with my hair right now? I figure that I can, make use of that.
And don't worry, you're not looking. Your hair's looking better than Wayne's. Don't worry.
Hey.
Oh, I don't. Hey. I just got like a pixie haircut, which I've never had before, and I kind of don't know how to deal right now.
What's a pixie haircut? Oh, you mean like the Pixies?
like a boy haircut,
nice,
but on a lady.
it's a little short. Not quite, a page boy or something like that, but more. I shouldn't talk like this. It's like a shorter haircut for girls and stuff, man. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah. Show X, where we talk about hair and makeup. Moving swiftly on, got another question in. It was asking why ukulele. Well, why was that your choice of instrument back in the day?
Well, it wasn't my first choice. I started with guitar when I was, I guess, I must have been like 11. And I was really into this band called Nickel Creek, and I was on this trip with my mom. We had some friends in like Tennessee, and they introduced us to Nickel Creek, and then they would be like, "Oh, let me play you our favorite Nickel Creek song," and everybody in the family could play an instrument. And so like the dad would get on piano, and like the kid, it was just like this really cool like. And Nickel Creek they're a bluegrass band, and it kind of demystified the music making process for me, because I thought like the Beatles and like rock music, They Might Be Giants and stuff was really cool, but I kind of couldn't, like, how did you make a guitar make that sound? Oh, well, I won't worry about it. But Nickel Creek is kind of the sum of its parts in a way. You can hear the bass and the fiddle and the mandolin and all that stuff. And so I asked my mom, like, yo, can I learn to play guitar, please? And so we got home. We bought a guitar, and she bought this big-ass Beatles fake book with, like, little chord pictures. I was like, here, go crazy. And so I taught myself guitar, and I played guitar for a while. And then I was in a Nickel Creek cover band with my friend Rachel, and we were called the Next Best Thing because we weren't Nickel Creek, but we were the next best thing.
Nice. That's smart.
And she already played guitar, and I kind of was tired of guitar because, like, when a lady gets on stage with a guitar, she's Michelle Branch, or she's Jewel, or she's Joan Baez. Like, there's all these sort of little cubbies that people are happy to put you in, and I didn't want to be put in a cubby, and so we
you
went
made
out.
your own, damn it.
I did. So I got a mandolin. I played mandolin in the Creek cover band, and then the next year I was really into Steve Martin's old stand-up records. So I learned to play banjo. My parents got me a banjo.
Nice.
And,
that's awesome.
And then, like, this one day, I guess I was like 14. My dad was walking home from work, and he saw this ukulele in a shop window, and it was like this triangular sort of plastic, the fluke ukuleles
wow.
that are.
Yes.
And he was like, well, that thing looks dumb and has strings. Maybe Molly can play it. And so he brought it home, and, like, I'd learned how to, like, kind of do the rhythmic strumming thing from a guitar, and I'd learned how to flat pick from mandolin, and I'd learned how to finger pick from banjo. And so all of those things kind of coalesced into this, like, I was already really good at ukulele, like, from the minute I picked it up. And ukulele is actually, the intervals of the strings are the same as guitar. It's just missing, like, the E and A string. And so I already knew all the chords. And it was awesome. And it was small, and it had plastic strings, and my fingers are really short, and so it just kind of solved all the problems I had with all these other instruments.
That strange triangular instrument was made for you.
It was. I didn't even know it. It totally was.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
It's
cool.
wonderful that,
Yeah.
your first introduction came to that kind of almost like a joke or just kind of as a random occurrence. But, so, do you still have that ukulele?
I do. You want me to go get it? It's in my closet.
Ooh. Oh, I'd be very
Yes.
curious to see the one that brought you out. So, yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Run away and...
Totally gonna fish it out. Hold on.
Hey, put down the background music. Put down that great background music. Let's hear this in total and full and power.
Oh, yes. Get her to actually play it for us. I will pause it once she
We'll
gets
convince
back.
her.
That'd be wonderful.
We'll put her on the spot.
I'm so excited. See you later, unit.
Back up. Okay. So it comes in a bag.
Let's see this thing.
Oh,
Like this. Yeah.
Fancy.
Alright.
oh,
that's
that's
cool.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
not nearly as bad as I thought we were going to see, where it's going to be some like cheap little, plastic
No.
thing. No, that's quite nice.
It stands up on a table, and I actually, like with these corners, I actually destroyed a pizza box with one at in Portland.
Intentionally, or?
Yeah, just to
Okay.
prove, like, no, look, this thing's really sturdy. Look, whack, 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 and then it was still in tune. It was a
Oh,
testament to their
wonderful.
build quality. Yeah, and it's
Well, so with that,
not even in tune.
wow, it still sounds remarkably good.
I was gonna say that sounded in tune to me, but. Ooh.
Yeah, these are the original strings too. These are the only
Nice.
strings that have
So
ever-
they
yeah.
have seen the years. That is
Yeah.
very cool.
So is there any
that-
chance we could hear you play it then? Just by a push?
Let me
Yeah,
see if
we'll
I can.
drop the music and.
I should not tune with headphones on. Nope, not even. This is like the most action this uke has seen in a couple of years now.
We don't want to talk and distract you.
Yeah, and you can see these reinforcements here are for the toxic cover, because like I couldn't, because the backboard and the frets are the same color, and so.
Mhm. Oh, nice.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
It's pretty sweet, and I can just stand it on the table, and it'll just.
That's so convenient.
Yeah. There we go. How's that?
No, that's
And-
awesome. I'm really happy that you brought that out to show us. That's kind of what brought you
Yes,
into
thank
the
you.
ukulele.
Yeah, it's seen some action with some wood's kind of missing there.
Yes,
Well,
beyond
one-
just
one
pizza
day-
boxes. It's
There.
Yeah, maybe one day in 40 years' time, if you're low on cash, you can be like, I'm gonna put it on eBay, $5,000. You know?
well, no. So I was looking at with that kind of rigidity, knowing that it's got the background that it has. That can be your go-to zombie apocalypse weapon.
It's true. That's actually oh god, I wish I knew where they were. Len Peralta he makes these Geek a Week trading cards, where he takes nerd celebrities and draws their sort of geek alter egos. And so I was the bride from Kill Bill, and my card depicts me swinging the uke like
That's
a bloody
cool.
violin.
Oh, that is awesome.
I feel
You
like
probably
that's
got a
right.
frame somewhere.
I do, but I don't know where. I couldn't for the life of me tell you.
Oh, that's
Oh,
all right.
so-
No, but that's so cool. Like I said, it's great that you have the story behind it because it does makes you say, this is a weapon. Don't you mess with me. Especially
I
when
could
you're first
destroy
getting
you.
started. You know, you knew you had that as your back, so if someone did get a little rowdy on you, you could just
Yeah.
clock them over the head with it.
Yeah. It makes it really satisfying. Like sometimes at ninja gigs, if I need to get attention, I'll just hit it like that. People go,
It's like,
the hell
hey,
is that?
hey.
And they look at me.
Yes.
Hey, listen.
Hey, I'm more than just a ukulele player. You don't want to find out what else.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
All right, so other than us and probably Stephen Fry, who are the coolest people you've met so far?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it? Put you on the
It is a
spot
tough
there.
one.
Well, it's one of those things, as you start reaching out and branching into the geek culture, it's amazing how it grows and kind of festers amongst itself because geeks love each other. And so
Yeah.
we find that once you get into one, it gets bigger. In fact, you may know one of our friends, Gnomewise, because he goes to all the Wootstocks and is covered and actually rebroadcasts them quite a bit. He
Yeah.
works for Casually Hardcore off Alpha Geek Radio. And we always joke because he's the biggest gnome in existence. Tall,
He's
tall
a very
gentleman.
tall man.
Usually with this crazy, one of the famous fez hats that are out there. So it's one of those things we've seen that as you get out into the culture, like you start to see and meet all those other famous geeks, and even then, as your geek cred or people in the world start to know you better, you start to meet even more. So, as you get in there, is there someone, even if it's not like the biggest or most famous person you've met, but someone that was either surprising or just really stands out that you never would have thought you would have had that interaction to him before you did this?
Well, I know at Minneapolis Wootstock, I got to meet all of the robots from Mystery Science Theater, because
What?
Kevin Murphy and
That
Bill
is
Corbett and Trace
cool.
Beaulieu were all there, and I have a picture of and there were just these kind of nice, like, Midwestern-looking gentlemen, and then, like, this tiny person, and my friends on Facebook could not figure out why I was freaking out until they saw the caption, like,
Yes.
robot roll call, and they went, oh yeah, oh my god.
That is so
Oh,
cool.
that's cool.
Yeah, and they are like the nicest people. I also met Sylvester McCoy at DragonCon, who is the 7th Doctor.
Yes.
And I rewrote my Mr. T song to be about Doctor Who, and he played the spoons on it.
Really?
Yeah, it was kind of awesome.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
It's like,
And, like-
and on the spoons, the Doctor.
And like I think technically that makes me a companion, which is okay. That's cool. I'm fine with that.
There are
Oh.
much worse things to be in the world than officially a companion.
Right? Like I think that's canon. Sure.
yeah, why not? I'm a Brit, I'll tell you it is.
Okay.
There you go. That works.
I've got one person, Hando again. He seems to be loving the chat today. He says, "I'm a recording engineer in Boston. I'll work for free if you're here."
Oh, all right. I'll write that down. Hando in Boston. When I get
Yeah.
to the airport, I'll just
Only
go
one.
like,
Well,
Has
it's funny.
anybody seen Hando?
It's funny because one of the questions he also threw in there is you were talking about when you're first getting into recording and such and using like the different music areas in the hall, make your videos and stuff. He specifically asked kind of what equipment you use to do your recording, because him being a sound tech, he's actually provided with us some clips and things and working on intros. and stuff.
Audiophile, yeah.
And so that's his life, and so he geeks out so much over just audio, and
Oh,
the
man.
fact that you produce, yes.
I mean, he's gonna find this upsetting, but my only microphone for years and years was a Samson C10U, which I got.
I had that. I've got
It's
it over
a-
there somewhere.
It's a darn fine microphone. It really is. I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't
of course,
record
of
in
course.
stereo, which is kind of
Uh-huh.
sometimes.
I have it
But
duct
it's
taped to like a table somewhere because that's the only way I could hold it up because I couldn't afford a stand at the time. So I just had it duct taped to like some random guitar holder thing.
mine's in that pile of crap on that bed somewhere. I put
Right.
eyes on it and I named it
Nice.
Sammy.
Oh,
And I
that's
don't think it would have
perfect.
survived as long if I didn't like feel really bad every time I dropped it because it was like I wouldn't weight the stand right. and it'd
Sammy!
fall down. No, Sammy, I'm sorry.
Brilliant.
He's in there somewhere, but
I don't know what
Oh no,
mine's
that's
like.
perfect. That's so much of our audience right there. I can almost see Copy in the background. They're laughing at that. The fact that having googly eyes or just having eyes on the mic to talk it to. And Hando, now it's funny because he is in our. We have this separate video wall where they all get to hang out in a Google Hangout and see each other as they're listening to the show. That we kind of look over and to see how people are reacting. And
Don't worry,
Hando
they
just
can't
got a
see.
grin on his face because we were answering his questions. So
Oh.
he's quite happy.
I'm the special one. Okay. How about this? Have you got any questions for us? I know we've been asking you, interrogating you for the past half hour or so. We've got 10 minutes left, so is there anything you want to ask us?
Not really. What's your favorite Skyrim mod?
Ooh, that is such an appropriate.
Not the My Little Pony one. Not the Thomas the Tank Engine one. Or maybe.
Come on,
actually.
Ken. What
I
about the
might
Super
just
Macho
do that.
Man Dragon one? That one's always good. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know. Well, ask Mr. Wade here. He's got over 150 or so in his Skyrim.
I think my video I did on it, I only had 50 something, and now I'm up to like 100 so. But my problem is it's always based on anything that makes it pretty. Because not that Skyrim was ever an ugly game, but the idea that I could modify the bejesus out of it and try to really tax my silly computer that I run.
To the point where it doesn't work anymore. Yep.
Do you even like remember what the original game looks like?
So it's funny because no. And
you play as Deadpool, don't you? You play as Deadpool.
No,
and
well,
you're
so
killing,
I do
Spider-Man
everything
over.
in canon. You shush. My things all just expand the world. But no, you say that, and I've seen where other people play Skyrim, and I'll walk over shoulder, I'm like, oh, and I'm like, wait a second, what is that? Oh yeah, that's how those looked. Yeah. So
Okay,
I
I've got an answer for you.
Right.
This is the most obscure answer, but the Killing Children mod. There's that one kid who just continually attacks your character, and is just, and he's bullying the other kid, and you're like, you're such a little bastard. I don't like you. And then you can kill him, and it's great.
Yeah. Yes, the non-essential NPC murder mod, so that you can kill anyone that's
Exactly what I
not
wanted.
absolutely important. Hey, it does let you play the game as you choose, which is
That's
what's
true.
wonderful about mods. Yes, we're big advocates and supporters of the modding community here on ShowX. So when you said that, there's a little bit of a grin there, like, haha, oh yeah, no, I got some mods, and then some.
Show you some mods, yeah. And well, you won't know this, but there's a certain meme on our show, kind of. It's well known that I have a thing for redheads, right?
Right.
So you may know
Felicia Day.
Miss Felicia Day, or at least heard of her. Have you ever met her?
Yeah. She's
Yeah, Ken suffers from mass amounts of jealousy for things like that. I whenever I want to rib him, I can talk back to BlizzCon 2009 when I first ran into her when she was promoting the guild, and I didn't know who she was, or not really at the time. Like, oh yeah, I have a picture of her, and then kind of filled me in, and I started watching everything. I was like, oh.
You may see that picture of my face behind Wayne. That's because he went to a con a year or two ago, and I couldn't go. So he was going to get Felicia Day to sign my face. And
No,
that maybe,
I was
pissed me off
specifically
before
gonna like
she-
hold up his face and take a picture with her, because this is my surrogate for my co-host in Scotland, who has maybe a little bit of a thing for you, but can't be.
Maybe.
And so, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That you met her, though. When did you meet her?
I met her at Wootstock. I guess it was like 1.1. It was in
Oh, wow,
LA.
so way back.
And we did it's on YouTube somewhere. She did an acoustic version of "Do You Want to Date My Avatar," and I played
yes,
ukulele on that.
As you just forced Ken into the interwebs to say, like, I must have this now in my face.
Yeah, and
I've got it.
gosh, and she's just like smart as a whip in person, like just like you would hope she would be. But I gave her, for some reason, I gave her the impression that I've done cocaine, because we were talking about, because Sandeep Parikh and I think Jeff Lewis were there.
Okay.
And so we were talking about just kind of weird, awkward gigs, and Sandeep was like, "Yeah, I did a show at like it was an improv show, but there were like all these tables that were like mirrors instead of wood on the top," and I went like, "Oh yeah, like those are you do cocaine off those," and I just finished talking to Felicia about. She was like, "How old are you?" And I was like, "I'm 19. I took some time off from school to come here." And so when I was like, "Oh yeah, you do cocaine off mirrored tables," she was like, "Wait, why? Well, like why mirrors?" And Sandeep and I both went, "Oh, it's so you can see the granules." You know, 'cause it's
Yeah,
That's
effective.
the point. Before it was a joke, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where you do cocaine. Ah, ha, ha, ha. That's how you see the granules.
You know, and I've seen movies, like I know how this works.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, what are you talking about? That everybody knows that.
But so she was like, "Oh man, college has changed since I went."
Oh,
Nice.
fantastic.
It's always wonderful to make good impressions.
Yeah, you don't get a second chance at a first impression for sure.
Oh, that's cool to hear. I'm very jealous. Then Stephen Fry is I'm a big fan of, and of course Felicia Day. So I'm super jealous. So well done. We've got 5 minutes left. So do you want to pimp things out?
Oh, I do
Yeah, we
have,
basically,
some
yeah, we
things
don't
to
want to
do.
keep your time, so you're welcome as long as you want. But you had mentioned that you have other things going on, so please let the world know.
I have a show actually tonight. If you're in Seattle, I'm playing a show at Wayward Coffee House at 7 p.m. with Sarah Donner, who sings songs about cats and metaphysics, and with Kyle Stevens of Kirby Crackle, who sings songs about cozy pants and super-powered girlfriends. So if you want some geek fun folk with cats and things, I don't know. Wayward Coffee House tonight at 7. I'm also going to be playing a show at Gen Con on Friday at 5 p.m. In, I don't know how Gen Con rooms work, but it's room ICC 238.
Well done.
Yes.
It's not the
So-
intensive care ward, everyone. Just
Yeah.
you know,
I'll be
look for it.
I'll be gravely injured on Thursday, and I'll be playing a show from the ICU. And it's my first Gen Con, so if you're there, please be nice and come to my show. And then I'll be at Dragon Con, but I don't know doing what or when, so just kind of show up to Dragon Con, and maybe I'll see you.
Oh gosh, that makes me so mad. I am choosing.
You were
not to
going to go, weren't
to
you?
Dragon
Mm-hmm.
Con. That's
You
a busy
decided to
time
come
of
to
the year.
Ken Con instead.
Yeah, instead I'm going to go to Scotland for some reason this fall. I don't know, this winter to see someone. But
Yeah,
Dragon
sorry
Con
about
this
that.
year is going to be so amazing. I am quite jealous. And it's bad, too, because they keep announcing new guests and talent that are going to be at Dragon Con, where I just... Really? You're just going to rub it in there that I decided I couldn't make it this year? Thank you, Dragon Con. Thank
Have you
much.
gone in previous years? Like,
I have not. It keeps going like I need to go inaugural time because it is one of the most amazing conventions around. Everyone
dude.
tells me.
it's like a frat party, but without any of the things that are alienating to nerds. Like, that's exactly what it is.
Look at his nerd rage. Look at it.
So the bad part is I have parts of my mind that says I could still go. I could go and I'll sleep on Aries' couch somewhere or something because I do know people in the area. And so even though good luck on a hotel, anyone at this point, but I'm sure I could find a corner of a street to sit on, at night and then make my way to the convention each day. I just
Get some
can't.
cocaine from Ollie while you're out in the street. Yep. Well,
You could just clown car into a room like everybody else does.
That'd be so hard though. I can't. I'd want to cosplay. I have too many photos I'd want to take. I'd want to meet and see everybody. Gnomewise is going to be out there. There's, damn it.
Nice thing is,
well.
like, the Walk of Fame is literally just in one room. It's kind of like this petting zoo where you can go like, oh look, Marina Circus. Oh look, the Sixth Doctor. Oh look, Rob Paulson. And it's just
Wow.
you just kind of wave at everybody and then you're done. That's all the.
That actually works out wonderful.
I saw Marina Circus eat a banana last year. You jealous? I know you are. Calcium
Nice.
Shine
No
eats
Felicia
that
Day though.
banana.
No Felicia
No,
Day though.
That's true.
I know, Ken. If it's not Felicia, it doesn't matter, right?
Pale redheads, man. Not pale redheads. Anyway, with that, Molly, thank you so much for joining us. Your Twitter, do you want to give a shout out to your Twitter, your Facebook, your website, your
Everywhere where
Bandcamp,
people
anything
can
else?
find you, follow you, love you, and things like that. Please let the world know.
Yeah. I think if you go to aboutme.com/Molly Lewis, it'll have links to all those things. That's probably
Really?
the most.
That is a
Yeah.
smart way to do that.
I didn't know that.
And my website is mollylewismusic.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my Twitter is Molly23, and my Tumblr and my Instagram. So 23 like the number, and
Yes.
like.
Well, because whenever I looked you up, the first place I saw it was at the Sweet Afton 23. And so, yes.
Those are
Yes.
Sweet Afton 23 and mollylewismusic.com direct to the same website, so you
It's
can't
the same
go
thing.
wrong.
It's all you.
Yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
great. Well, if you're ever around in Scotland, give me a shout.
Oh
Give you a
yeah.
high five and a beer, as is the norm here in Scotland. And thank you so much for joining us on the show. We really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
IRC. Thank you, Wade.
Thank you very much, Molly. And with that, we are going to take a break. And in doing so, because we know you can't have had enough Molly yet, we're going to play one of her songs, the one we talked about in the show, An Open Letter. And so with this, to Stephen Fry, you'll be able to catch it. I think this is the live performance of it. But, so yes, we'll check that out. So with that, Molly, thank you very much, and we will be taking a quick break, and we'll be back to you here on Show X at VTWProductions.com. Signing off with Miss Molly Lewis. Everyone, check her out. Check out her albums. Catch her if you can in your local area, as well as all of the good conventions coming up. All of you lucky bastards going to Dragon Con, you better go visit Molly, and like she said, be nice. So everyone, we will be back shortly, and thank you very much, Molly.
Your heart is promised to a man, and so I have no hope to win it. But consider my proposal, sir, if you can find a minute. I think the future of our species would be better with you in it. I know you have your problems, and maybe I have mine, but you should leave someone to carry on. When you have turned to dust, implant your genome in an infant, sir. I think it's only just, and you would need someone to bear this child, a woman you can trust. I'll put my body on the line. Oh, Stephen Fry, I see no reason why you wouldn't want someday maybe to let me have your baby. You would be amazed what science does these days, so think it over, send along your seed. Ideal for this position, which I hope you will not doubt. I've got those childbearing hips you always hear so much about. I have permission from my boyfriend, and he'd like to help you out. I know it isn't much, but it's what I have to give. And I don't drink, and I don't smoke, and I eat all my leafy greens. I'll try to go to bed much earlier. I'll get all my vaccines, and I'll put headphones on my belly. And I'll cut back on caffeine, I'll hang an iPad in the crib. Oh, Stephen Fry, there's no reason why you wouldn't want someday maybe to let me have your baby. And I'm in my prime, so you've got loads of time. So when you're ready, send along your seed. You deserve to reproduce. Built to procreate. I hope my womb can be of use. So think it over, I can wait. And one day if you're sure of it, then I can be your surrogate, please. Oh, Stephen Fry, tell me why you wouldn't want someday maybe to let me have your baby. I adore you, dear. I come before you here to be the only woman you will ever need. And my fertility is nearly guaranteed, 'cause I have all the tools that you require to breathe. So send along your seed.
And all of my professionalism goes right out the window. Well, no,
that's all we needed it for. We don't need it anymore. We've used it up for the whole
it's
year
done.
now.
Yeah, we used it up for the interview with Molly. So I would apologize, everyone, but nope, that's it. That's what you're going to get. You're back to regular Show X now with just poor little Ken and I. And so I'm sorry, everybody. Hopefully you got your fill, because I know I enjoyed myself there with the lovely Miss Molly. And so that was so much fun.
She is so much fun to hang out with. You know that. Like I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting to speak to the singer. I don't know how that's different, but she's a really cool person. She's just fun to hang out with.
That was just fun. So thank you very much, Molly, again for joining with us.
Yes, really
and
appreciate that.
a shout out to the show she's doing here. Everybody, you should go check her out. If you're in the local area of Seattle, go check it out. That would be so much fun. And if you happen to listen to our show and go talk to her, it'd be even better to be able to say, hey, I just heard you on Show X today. That was a lot of fun. And actually put out and that's the reason I'm at the here to see you. That would be brilliant.
And give her a tweet
Roxy.
and thank her as well. Just say @Molly Lewis, if that's her. I think that's her handle. Say @Molly Lewis.
Well,
thank you.
no,
Thank you so
no,
much
hers
for
is-
being on Show X. Really enjoyed you there. That was great fun.
Yeah, say no. Her Twitter is
Molly23.
@Molly23. Yes, @Molly23. So go ahead and throw it out there and say thanks and tweet it out that she was on the show. We had a lot of fun. But now, although the music is inappropriate for it, we're going to catch up a little bit because I always appreciate you guys writing into the show and letting us know what you've been up to. So I know there was concern about whether or not we would get to any of your geek cred. Well, we are now. So, haha, we still love you guys, even though, yes, this is the background music and it says that we're in the Geekoscope. Anyhow, so, continuing with geek cred, first, email...
Let me jump on one, sir. You've got somebody wishing for your attention behind you, I believe. Do you want me to get the first one?
Go ahead, sir, and I will see what El Campo wants to do as he hovers over me.
So the first one here is from Ms. Roxy. Mrs. Roxy. So, yesterday my brother and I decided to kick it old school. We pulled out my SNES and Nintendo 64 and busted out some classics. And some personal favorites. Since we have been having moments of nostalgia talking about it prior to gaming, we began the afternoon with GoldenEye 007. Good choice. I think that's one of the first and most classic
overrated
FPSs.
first-person shooter type games in existence because every
I
little
haven't played it, and I
asshat
can't
in the
speak to
world
that,
that
but I know
only
it
had an
wasn't like it.
N64 to play suddenly was like, GoldenEye was amazing because it was the only FPS on the N64.
Anyway, what lay in
Unreal
my memory
Tournament.
as a perfect PvP game became a pixelated experience, all the while wondering, how the hell did I used to be successful at aiming? And I totally understand with the pixelation side. I know when I...
Oh, dude, I've seen videos of GoldenEye where I look at it and say, how did you guys even play that game?
Yeah.
I saw people where they were like, sniping someone, literally with a sniper rifle, and you look and you see a different color pixel.
Yeah.
Somewhere at the edge of the screen of somebody on the dam that's kind of like behind a wall or something, and they're just peeking
they're
out.
like, yeah.
And yet
that's
it's somehow
crazy.
registered as being an actual kill. Like, what? What? How did you do that?
That's cool. But, it's the same with old games, though, though. You think, oh, that was so much fun 15 years ago. I loved it 15 years ago. And you expect to go in and find something in modern gen graphics, and you'll think, it won't be
God.
that bad. And
Yes.
then you open up Doom or Populous or the original black and white, and then you go,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. How did Laura look back there in the first Tomb Raider there, Ken?
pretty much like that.
Well, actually, no, it's not like that. It's more like that.
Yeah.
It's the wedge, exactly. So, no, we talked about that because it's amazing how you can go back just a generation of stuff. Because one of the things we did at Game Fest this weekend is we did Modern Warfare 1, so Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare 1, and I do not know the actual date and time that was released by comparison now. But when you look at it, it's bad. Well, it's not even that. We played it for the tournament, and that's one of the fallbacks we're going to have from is that I will probably never, ever play that game again. As much as I loved it and had nostalgia, having played so much Black Ops since then, and not touch and go, screw that game. But from the Modern Warfare series, Modern Warfare 1 was one of the most unbalanced piece of craps ever by today's comparisons. Back in the day, it was innovative and new and different, but you look back and it's just like, holy crap, no wonder everybody rages when we play this game. And because Paz was here, and yes, he took the first-person shooter trophy, hands down, because we played that and we played Loadout, and he in both games just wrecked. But in Modern Warfare, he did like 30-3 or something like he does in the current game. And it goes back to saying, for everybody who thinks Paz Evers is a hacker, the fact that I just copied an instance of the original Modern Warfare over to his computer so he could play it real quick because he didn't have it installed himself, and bam, it goes. It was, yeah, there's no way, and he still just wrecked us. God, he is good.
That's him for you.
Yes.
Boy, does.
And
the
thank
email
you,
goes
Stoner.
on.
Yes, it was Modern Warfare 1 was released in 2007.
That's not too bad. That's not too bad, actually. The graphics back then were still, PlayStation 2
Yeah, but that's
Xbox
still
level, so.
7 years ago.
When was Crysis? When did Crysis get released?
The original Crysis?
Yeah.
Interwebs! Yeah, well, because at least Unreal Tournament I know was like 98 or something. And it's
2007 for the original Crisis, and that's still beautiful.
Oh, well, Crysis is gorgeous. It's, again, one of those games that just kind of owns for what things you can do.
It's unique, yeah. It is unique. The email goes on. We pretty much laughed the entire time playing, especially while on bended knee chopping the other person to death. Molly Lewis, your song was running through my mind the entire time. Nice. Sorry she wasn't here to hear the email. Then after doing barrel rolls in Star Fox, which, by the way, I kicked my brother's ass in Star Fox. That's right, boys, I still got it. I also got some pretty substantial blisters in my thumb from some rigorous Super Smash Bros. Went off to Dreamland with Kirby. Oh, that's cool. I played that back in the day as well. That's a classic. And rocked a little Gauntlet Legends and ended with a little bit of Mortal Kombat. We then moved on to the SNES. That's pretty sweet. The 90s came screaming back to me while I blew on the cartridge of my favorite game. I pushed the on button and heard the sounds of my childhood. Right then and there, with my brother, we played Zombies Ate My Neighbors for what felt like forever. It was a really fun afternoon.
That's awesome. Cool. In fact, you were having essentially what I did this weekend with our Game Fest because we had so many of our old games. We played, we played Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and Super Mario Brothers for progression, how far in the level you could get without dying one life. And not even like so you couldn't just try to go beat the game. And we even played, the old arcade games, Frogger, Miss Pac-Man, stuff. And you're right, when you look back, some of it still holds true with the nostalgia. And for us, we played the original Mortal Kombat on the arcade fighters as well as Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2. And Mortal Kombat, which I ended up coming back and winning, thank you. Although Unit 0 actually won overall because come Super Street Fighter 2, I was out the first round. Oh, I just got destroyed. Two matches in a row, gone. I was like, oh, so I'm out. Which completely balanced out my two games to you are completely average.
GG, no re. Yep.
Exactly. But it's funny, you go back in certain games like you were talking about with Star Fox, when it just comes back to you, that muscle memory, that even though it's been decades in some cases, you start playing the game, you're like, yeah, the timing comes back, you remember little tricks to it. And I laugh because I know I'm becoming an old man. I can barely remember what I did yesterday or last week or so, but I can still tell you, and I did this again today, that the code to get straight to Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out on the NES is 007-373-5963, because I had memorized that thing when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Nice.
And it has never gone away, because back then that was the only progression you had. There were no saves. Put in this, you won the title bout. Put in this code to get to the next match. And I don't remember any of the other codes, but I remember Tyson, because I have never beat that punk, and I had to go to that code a lot.
Nice. Yeah, I'm the same with old, not even old actually, but GTA San Andreas, I remember that off by heart, but all the different codes, like full life and armor, get weapons set tier 1, 2, through to tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I remember how to speed up time, flying vehicles, all that stuff. I played that game so much back in the day with all my friends, and the thing is, when they wanted to cheat in, I'd have to get they'd give me the pad and I'd type it in, so I'd memorize it.
Yes. Yep.
So I've got them all still stored in there for no apparent reason. So we have another email. It is from Miss Pusa. Would you like to do this one, sir?
Sure, as I'm running around looking at different people on the video wall and totally distracting myself. So, from our friend Miss Pusa. And it is just labeled Geek Cred, not nearly as scandalous as usual. So, what have I done? In Ingress, I hit 3 mil recharged XM and got a new Guardian portal, 89 kilometers away at an old castle. Ken, you are not a treacherous toad if you do not play. I learned Braille.
I don't play, so I'm not. That's great.
Yeah, there you go. You're not as green as you used to be. I learned Braille for the sake of writing coded messages for a LARP. I figured that my bow is actually as strong as it is legal in the LARP, 29 pounds. I rearranged the furniture in the kitchen to make a better separation between office and food baking space. You will have to show us that at some point, since I haven't seen you make a pony for quite some time, Miss Pusa.
That's a good point, actually, Miss Pusa. Jeez. Get back on the crafting.
I have to admit to as well, because Pusa, I killed your Tyrannid pony. I'm really sorry. It got knocked off a shelf behind my desk and fallen to pieces, and I have to repair it. I was very saddened.
Mine is still on the show. outside in public, on show, in a private room where nobody can go into. There's
Behind
still-
closed doors, if you happen to go
Inside
into the
multiple locked
closet
doors.
in the room that nobody uses, you might see that pony. Whereas
completely
mine,
on
all of
display.
mine, are proudly disposed or shown in front of the.
You're right, they are
everybody.
proudly disposed. You just chuck them down the back of a desk now, eh?
Ah, shush. Actually, I did a
You
number
talk.
game recently where someone, who was I talking to? Oh, it was a game where it was tell facts about each other, and it's just I was trying to come up with random ones. So I looked around and I counted all the ponies in my herd, and I think I came up with 34 that I have total ponies. And I was just like, huh, how'd that happen? Totally unintentional that I have quite a herd. What? It's good for you. I can't wait to start 3D printing them, including modified ones. I'm going to put pony heads on everything.
I'm going to try to
Cool.
infect your 3D printer, so every time it detects a pony coming in, it prints out like
It's
a
magic and
It's been
awesomeness.
decimated in some way, like an axe in its head or something.
So let's see. It continues on to say, which I was hired to make another LARP sub camp at an annual Boy Scout camp in the region. Does that mean that you're going to LARP with Boy Scouts? Yeah. I was praised for my new and awesome notebook at the LARP. I forgot said notebook at the LARP, and the game master recognized my handiwork and asked if it was mine rather than just adding it to the list of forgotten stuff. At the same LARP, I got a new apprentice. Now I am up to 3 apprentices. Ha ha ha, minions! One of which actually aims to become a pyromancer as well. For the online Werewolf the Apocalypse game, I would have gathered no less than 5 people for a potential pack. And we have had the second scan, and thus gender confirmation of the respawn female. What? Is this something that came up recently that I missed? Has this already, had this been announced? What?
I don't know.
Female respawn? Pusa? I'm assuming I'm reading that correctly, that there's another spawn coming to the
That
overall.
is really exciting. If so, Pusser. So that's fantastic news, and congratulations for both of us.
I'm going to give you, for that one, a...
Yeah. Party, party, party. Best day ever. Party, party, party. So much party. Party, party, party. Party till you drop. Say it again.
Yeah! Awesome. And do I have enough for a level up yet from Pusa? Actually, that is quite a good list, Pusa. And giving it the creds that be, I will definitely give you a ding for that. Although I still haven't fixed all those other all the ones, so I can't. Let's see. No, it doesn't work. This one, no, it doesn't work.
Ding, 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 ding. There you go.
Yeah, that's the whole thing where it's like, darn it! I had one of those, and I've lost it. Actually, I could do. No, anyhow. So, yeah, my fault. But, very good geek cred this week. I'm proud of you, Pusa, and
That's
congrats
impressive, I
as
think.
well. That's like, seriously, congrats.
As cool as Molly Lewis is, she's not bringing a new geek to the world. That's pretty geeky, I gotta say. That's pretty impressive. So congratulations, definitely. All right, so we have another one, don't we? We have one more. I
Yes.
believe.
Yes, we
So this one is from. Oh, jeez, this is Molly 3. This is from the Copmeister. As you can probably guess by the intro. Hello, Mr. Wayne and Dr. Lord Reverend and Bachelor of Science Kenneth Neil Reed II. Long time, no copy mail. 2 weekends ago, I went to Con Bravo in Hamilton, as the VTW bot was commenting on earlier. I took Jinx again because she's super comfy to wear and people love her. Yep, that's kind of true. Yep. I watched Djali, and his friend Badman play in the Smash Bros tournament, and they did pretty well. Djali lost the semi-final match. Then we ran into his little sister. I think she goes by BK Thunder. That's pretty cool. As tired as everyone was, there's always room for sibling rivalry. Chibi and I are still trying to plan our costumes for Anne 2015. That is Anaheim 2015. And the lovely Hillian Knight has informed me of plans to attend as well. This means Fire Emblem Group cosplay. Woohoo! The Hillian Knight will be dressing as Roy, and I've always been wanting to go as Marth, but rather than crossplay, I will have to make FE Awakening's Lucina variant. I don't know what the hell it is about, because flat-chested girls are what's hot lately, and I need to take advantage of this while I still can. Oh, I thought you meant. Oh my god, I didn't think you meant the fat was going to run out. I thought you were saying because my boobs are going to be growing soon. I thought that's what. Because
Oh yes, Ken. That's
that
what
type
happened
in
there.
every
That's
girl's
what
life.
happened there, Ken. Copy just said, I have to make sure I cosplay as many flat-chested characters or boys as I can because I'm suddenly magically going to become enhanced in ways that I'm not going to pay for. That's what happened there,
exactly what I
Ken.
thought it was. Anyway, that was a good 5 minutes. We just discussed Copy's breasts on. Anyway, also I bought Sona, Ari, and Katarina posters. Little Evolution plushies, Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon, and some Big Damn Heroes too. Mal, Wash, and Jane. They're so.
Yes.
I have no idea what this is about.
Well,
oh wait, what? That was. Mal,
So
I know
if
Mal
you
Wash,
anyone
yeah,
who's
yeah.
paying attention in the actual hangout,
I-
you can look at the
Oh.
Copy is happily displaying the things that she has picked up
Oh,
at the
the
con, like
screens.
all of us do. You know, you go to a convention and good luck on saving money, just like how nobody had noticed, by the way, or commented on my change of decor behind me with the posters I've acquired.
I've been distracted, sir. And to be fair, you're very small now that you've got the IRC and stuff, but I can't see the whole you. Look at everybody else.
wah.
Hmm?
Everyone else can see it. The people watching on the actual video stream. That is not my fault, sir. But yes, no, on the background on mine, in fact, here, I'll do this for you and everyone else so that you can look behind me on the wall. I reorganized as I was getting things put together from the convention at DCC because I had the unfortunate time of spending $300 in one booth. But,
Oh my god.
yeah, exactly. And so I, much like Hoppy, have gathered some more artwork about League of Legends and put them all up behind me on the wall, officially framed now for everyone to see.
I did see that last week, actually, if you remember.
You
sir. I
did,
comment
because
on
we had talked about it, but none of the fans had commented on it, which I was kind of surprised. So yes, I made the cover a lot better this now, as well as what else did I do?
No, it's
Yeah,
definitely
so-
good that you spent the $300 on that instead of printing it off and put it in a frame, because that would be ridiculous. It's a good thing
Shush.
you spent all that money.
Shush. Yeah, you suck.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, but no, that's awesome. And so yes, what she's saying there is she got. At least I hope you understood the Sona, Ari, and Katarina
Oh,
posters.
of course, yeah.
But then the Evolution plushies, and so she has Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon, which are to her left, our right on the video wall, as well as her Big Damn Heroes, Mal, Wash, and Jane on her right, our left. The cool little cutout she has. They're so cute. I also spent.
I don't know why you didn't get like a cool Pokemon like Mr. Mime though. I mean, he's clearly the best Pokemon. And the least
Nice.
creepy.
Oh, and then she says, "Yeah, I'll let you continue on there."
Yeah, she goes on to say, "Yay!" And there's another paragraph. Not much else going on in my life. Still a fishmonger. Well, you're getting your fishing level up high, man. I mean, it's only 99, and then then you'll get your cooking up, and then you'll be then you get some combat levels, and you'll be the best RuneScape PKer ever. Might have an interview on Wednesday morning. Hey, congratulations. Good luck with that. Morning over in Hamilton. Oh, and I'm playing RO2 again with the Chibi. 30% XP boost all month with 100% boost on weekends. We spent an hour derping about in the main city, and people in game actually started watching us because we were acting absolutely batty. There's a
No.
weird thing in Scotland where I don't know why, but it became really popular to go around saying people were being batty boys. You're a pure batty boy, and it meant you're crazy. You're crazy, man. And it was a cool thing to say, like, oh,
Huh.
Mr. Filcher is a total batty boy. I don't know why. Anyone who has experienced game time with the Idiot Brigade must understand. Yeah, we do. See you next Sunday. Much love. The original copy, still a wandering druid, no longer wandering Azeroth. But wait!
Woohoo!
But
Wait.
wait! I got a Vita. I'm finally playing the games that I bought over 2 years ago. I have touched my Katarami, Ragnarok Odyssey, YS, I don't know why these are either. Memories of Selcheta,
Wise memories of Kilketa.
one of those words. And the Vita itself came with Borderlands. Sorry. Borderlands 2. Dialect set up the Vita under his PSN account so I can download all of his free stuff on PlayStation Plus and cross-console download any PS3 or PS4 game that are handheld compatible. He also bought the latest Persona game for the handheld, so I'll have to let him borrow the things so he can play too. Okay, I'm done for real this time. Love you, bye! Copy.
Thank
That's
you
fantastic.
very much, Copy, for also joining in the Geek Cred this week. And I think everyone did a very good job leveling up their Geek Cred. So thank you very much for joining in and letting us be a part of it. Let's see. So with that, I don't think I had anything other I need to put. Although she did, after hearing some of those things, what was it I was going to bring up? Shoot, I had something that also came off of what Coffee was saying. I want to.
Well, I've got one little thing that I didn't mention earlier. I didn't want to mention with Molly on the line and pull away from anything. But I've got some good news.
Wait.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
something
I think I do know you have good news.
Yeah. My kitten features, you may have heard of her, heard her on the show, almost every single show in the past 2 years. She's my wife. You may remember I married her a little while ago.
Yeah,
and stuff.
some reason I actually met you or something. I remember something about
that one time. Yeah, at band camp. Yeah, in Florida. So yeah, that happened, and so she's coming back in 12 days. The visa. got accepted.
In 12 days, nonetheless. So the
Yeah,
nice thing is you didn't say 14 days. So, but what I'm gathering from this is in 2 weeks' time, when we do our show, it may be a solo show because Ken may still be broken from having reacquainted himself with his kitten.
Only my lower half will be broken, not my top half.
We'll have to see what happens with that one, but keep an eye out. The show will go on, hopefully, with Ken.
Oh, there will be, no doubt. I try not to miss shows as much as I can. We've only missed one this year, by the way, I think, and that was my fault, to be fair. That was technical problems.
Yeah, that was because, on that note, for anyone who hasn't paid attention, I have been experiencing some technical difficulties on VTWProductions.com. The website itself has been solid and good. We're very happy for that. The forums, on the other hand, have been wonky. This is something that I had taken for granted, and I want to show out a big thank you and why we still have a lot of love for the Alpha Geeks, because everything that was set up for our forums and most of what the network does was due to the work and efforts of the largest of gnomes, Mr. Gnomewise. And so always shouts out to him and much thanks for what he did. But as he is focusing on the Alpha Geek Radio side of the world, we have broken out and grown up a bit on our own to be able to handle the things for VTW, which really means I do it all and I don't know anything about it, and I'm learning as we go. And so the forums were basically static in how they were running for over a year, and that now that we are having something corrupted and is still on the edge, and so I've had to learn and try to fix these things. So please bear with, doing my best, learning as I can, and hopefully getting some support and help from a few other people that know forums and PHP and things like that better than I. We'll try to make sure it stays, going, and bear with us. But we're trying.
And also, on that sort of note of VTW progress, I mentioned last week we were having a staff meeting soon to discuss some things. And I also brought up the fact we're thinking we're having a Patreon. We discussed that a little bit, and me and Wayne have talked about it a little bit since. We're still probably going to go ahead with it. We still got Still got to think about some of the stretch goals we're planning on doing, what kind of rewards we can do. So if you guys give X amount a month and that's met, like for every month that is met, we'll do something about it. Might do an extra show. We might, if it's several $1,000s, we might come visit you. Who knows?
No, I'll tell you this: if we're able to, even for the station itself, not just for Show X, if we're able to at some point raise some money and do some coordination, we will finally host the official, VTW Con that we've joked about for some time. Likely what we will do is try to link it to another larger convention so that we have all something to go do, perhaps something like a Dragon Con. Not this year, sad as I might be for that, although damn it, as the list grows I might work, sorry, and suddenly drop thousands of dollars and have a geek experience for a weekend. Still, no, that's the end of this month, I can't do it. Damn it, anyhow. But, But yes, we would love to be able to take your monies. Do good things in support of all the things hopefully you want us to do. And with that in mind, this is other problematic things. Make sure if you haven't checked out, Tales of Relevant Thought and Tom Bad Guy has been putting out some polls and things on the website, as well as on his Twitter for things to jump in and be a part of. On the website, there's a poll to see what would you like to see more of on VTWProductions.com. Feel free to fill out as much of that as you can. We need the feedback, or else how else are we going to make ourselves better for you? As Ken likes to say, we're damn pretty. We're pretty amazing and talented. But at the same time, we believe we could be better, and we want to be better for you. So give us some feedback, even if it hurts.
And back to the Patreon side of things, I'd like to give a shout out to some folk who hung out with me in Vent that night, as is welcome tonight, by the way, in the VTW Gaming Night, as always. Because after I mentioned the fact that we're thinking about doing a Patreon, several people came up to me and said, "Hey, dude, like, how much would you like? Because I'd be happy to give $10, $20 a month." Several people came and said that to me afterwards, and that's amazing that people would ever even consider that. Well, what we were considering initially was just like $1 or $2 from each person, because if each listener gave us just $1 a month, $1, like that's like 60 pence in my currency. That would probably help us cover most of our costs if we had like every single listener do that for the whole year.
I have done a lot to make the show and the network run at a shoestring budget, apparently, basically, so that we don't have to go requesting money and do a bunch of extra advertising and things like that to clutter up the website or to basically change the experience you're all used to getting. And so I've made it so that we can run pretty minimal, but it still costs us a few things as we update license and stuff like that. So on occasion, I suppose we may ask. I don't know. I hate to ask because I'm like, meh, I've got a job.
It's not as if we're saying, hey, it's going to cost you $1 per show or anything like that. What we're saying is, hey, if you have, like, if you listen to our show all month, that's like 8-10 hours of content or so, 8 hours. That's not like a crazy amount, but it's a good little amount. And plus, we do the editing, we do other stuff for the website, and all of it comes together, costs money and time. And if you like that and you even have just a couple pennies to spare, anything would be welcome. And hey, if you've got even more than that, we can give you some rewards in advance and say, hey, if you like it that much, we'll give you extra stuff. That's what it's all about. So if you want to do it, we'll think about that. If not, then don't worry about it. It's cool. It's something to think about.
Enough of us pandering. Hopefully you'll hear more in the future as we get things locked down to figure out what we might do and the ways we will continue to grow Show X and all of VTW Productions.
Yes.
All right. Wow, that was like spiel and stuff. Much better than I did at the beginning of the show when I broke things again, as happens.
It's the damn audio cables. We need to get some physical ones in the go.
Yeah, I've been looking. Anyhow, eventually. Or I need to get a different standalone rig to do stuff. But again, in the future, there will be things and stuff in places, and we'll figure it out. And maybe I'll update my computer one day out of the 7-year-old thing I'm running right now. That's still massive and better than most. All right, so what else has been going on? So like I said, I've talked about the Geek Cred stuff for my Game Fest things that are going on. I had some stuff that I was going to say. Like I said, I talked about the 3D printing to a degree. I've actually got it running, although I did find out the error and problem with my hotbed on the 3D printer, where literally or just the lines underneath basically sheared. There's a part that the wires that connect to the hotbed to heat it up to make the prints more consistent and stick better cut itself off because of the way they mounted it. It's under warranty, so they're sending me a box so I can fix it and get it replaced. So that will be nice, as well as I have to send back. I'm so disappointed. I only have a month now until essentially my next big convention, which is Non-Descon, our local anime convention. And I ordered my outfit for Mugen because I'm going to be from Samurai Champloo, as well as I got my Mugen.
That's quite a funny word. Okay, continue.
As well as the sword I got from him, which I'm not going to be able to use that sword because it's metal blade, but I'm going to model a plastic hilt off it on my printer, hopefully, and then use a wooden blade and try to make it all work. But the whole reason I bought the sword was to get the scabbard, so it would match what it is in the anime. But the one I got, somehow, and it's got to have been the shipping company, I think they stacked something on top of this box that said fragile, because the box looked like it had been bent almost in half, and sure enough, when I opened the sword, the scabbard was cracked all the way through. It almost splintered. Ooh. So I think someone either jumped on it, sat a huge box on it, or something like that. But I was very disappointed because I'm not going to be able to get it back replaced before the con, I don't think. So I'm going to have to wing it and just kind of create my own thing. We'll see. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed in that.
I hate that stuff, man. That is so annoying. That sucks. I really do feel sorry for you.
Wow, I've been sitting there for a while on my own face. Aren't I narcissistic? Sorry about that, video listeners. And watchers.
Yeah, I mean, missed it on this fantastic Scottish goatee. I don't want to feel Scottish in front of everything.
Oh, what else? So that was really what we've been going to and talked about for the Geek Cred pieces. We pick up and say for that. I know I have more, but we can catch that another time. So with that, we are going to transition officially, at least, into
technology, news, and more today on the Geekoscope.
So, wow, a full-fledged show. Not only an hour of a special guest, but we get to all the sections for a change. How do we manage this? Normally we can barely get, we're so narcissistic talking about ourselves, we can barely even get to the Geekoscope in the second half. So, Ken, what do you have for us this week in news?
Well, sir, I have a few things, and actually, I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Stoner because he's given us a couple of things, and I think I want to actually make use of his articles that he sent us.
So
he sent them this for the last.
As we now have, for anyone who didn't realize, I know Ken's put it out there before that. Yes, the mighty Stoner has jumped in as the role of our Show X rep. And so both in the IRC as well as handling all the news and traffic to help us make sure we have good content for the show, we'd like to send out a shout out and a salute, since we don't have the official /salute with us anymore, but to the mighty Stoner for thanking you for helping us out, sir. All right, give us his article.
All right, getting drunk on electricity, flavored vodka.
Not
an
on the
experiment in
drink I'm
science.
drinking now. So.
Are you? Oh, I wish I was. I had one vodka earlier because that's all I had.
I was trying to be good during our guest, and now I'm not so much.
We've seen, this is from Gizmodo, by the way. We've seen slightly unusual flavors of vodka before. Caramel, popcorn, chili vodka. They're quite commonplace when you're shopping for a quirky gift online at 2 a.m. But electricity-flavored vodka? That can't possibly be good. Like any quality review, the tech specs come first. The bottle is a little smaller than your average vodka carrier, coming at 500 mils. That is quite small. It's about half a liter. That is half a liter. The bottle is, as you'd expect, made of glass with no chamfered edges or machined aluminum lids. Although, no, it's aluminum, not aluminium.
Yes, it was spelled correctly.
Yes, I'd actually dislike the British way of saying it. Although that's probably to be expected given the £12.50 asking price. So again, that's about $20. It's worth noting that it's labelled as electricity spirit, not vodka, probably for some dubious reason to do with health and safety. The liquid is also an unhealthy shade of blue, but not in WKD Alcopop's kind of way. More of this might be a runoff from a nuclear reactor kind of way. In any case, you don't buy vodka to sit on your shelf. You like it because you hate the real world and because getting drunk in Guildford on a weekday is an act of responsible adult. Okay. So this is like a real-time blog of the guy doing it. So 17:01, 5 p.m. It's after 5 p.m. on a Friday evening, and of course this means it's now 100% socially acceptable to sit down with 2 shot glasses, a bottle of electricity-flavored vodka, and drink ourselves into oblivion. So that's what we start doing. Note the ourselves here is me. 17:03, 2 minutes later. I know wine tasters like describing alcoholic drinks with a laundry list of tenuous adjectives like bold and robust and slightly carpety, but there's only one way to describe electricity-flavored vodka, like licking steel wool. And yes, I know what that tastes like. And yes, my childhood did involve a number of impromptu trips to A&E. So he goes on to say, I'll read this last bit. Having now downed 3 shots each, we've decided that drinking straight vodka is about as pleasant as doing shots of any spirit, namely, not at all.
Yeah, no doubt. Ugh.
So to try and make things more interesting, we busted out vodka roulette, which is like drinking normal vodka shots, only there are 6 of them, 1 Grey Goose, almost undrinkable and also very expensive, 4 Sainsbury's Basics, oh that's horrible, oh that's like own brand, you know, like the shop's own brand, it'll be like Walmart vodka.
Yes, it's the, hey, look what I made in the jug in the back.
Yeah, this is $4, yeah. And 1 Odka. You then roll a dice to see which shot you get. Side note, there's probably room here for an app that automates this whole process, but then takes embarrassing photos and shares them on your Facebook timeline for you free of charge. And that'll do it for now. So that's quite interesting. Electricity-flavored vodka. I don't know how that works. I don't know if somebody had to taste it first. They got like, I bet what they did is they got a battery, right? Like an actual like battery, and just licked it and went, yeah, we need to get that flavor. We need that flavor in vodka.
Oof, that'd be horrible.
I remember once when I was in high school in a techie class, it was technical studies, and basically it was workshop kind of class, so we did some stuff with wood, made like a bird feeder, stuff like that, and one day we were playing with gadgets, like little electricity boards, circuit boards, and we were like, what can we do? Let's make a moisture tester thing. So you put it in your plant pot, and it'll tell you if it needs water or not, so you just give it a reverse pulse, so instead of saying when it is wet, it'll say when it's not wet, so it'll tell you when it needs watered. So you pour in water and stuff and that's it. And I was really proud of making this. So I went back to my house and I said to my parents, look what I made! It's a moisture tester! And they went, oh, go try it, put it on your tongue. And I was like, okay! Oh. And that's when I learned. That's when I learned that it was actually a current that did that. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, your turn, sir. Your turn.
Oh, that's hilarious. Let's see, unfortunately I didn't grab the last articles I had sent, did I? So what do I still have in here? Oh, I am curious about this one, and it's mostly just because I am been doing anime and things like that recently. In fact, God, I need to make a list of the Geek Crest stuff I've done since last I was on, since I did kind of miss out on things, people, to go do other fun things. But this one comes to us from my News 360 and officially from Anime News Network. And so this article is chatting specifically about a new game announcement that was done for one of the animes that I quite enjoyed and I hope more people have seen, called Afro Samurai. And so it says,
I have heard of this, yep.
Afro Samurai PC console game announced.
Yeah.
And so publisher Versus Evil, that made Banner Saga, announced Wednesday that it will, so this is back from June, this article was, that it will release a new Afro Samurai video game. Redacted Studios is developing the game for the PC and next-generation consoles. The third-person action-adventure will feature new characters and a new story, which is quite brilliant to be able to do something different than was just in the anime. Yeah, animation studio Gonzo adapted... What's that?
I guess people are mad about that. Oh, you're not sticking to the original story. You're just going to be terrible. But yeah, if they stuck to the original story, it'd also be terrible, I bet.
Well, no, so here's the thing. There's two sides of it. It's one thing to have something that follows the original story. Heck, look at every Naruto game ever made. Which, to a degree, it's fun because you get to play through what you watched or read, and that's really fun to do. However, as long as someone does something, unlike George Lucas and Disney and Star Wars, where you keep to the canon... I have no problem with someone expanding the universe, and thus for taking characters perhaps on side quests or a whole different adventure that wasn't really part of the main piece, but still expands the overall story of the character, introduces new characters, and is really in the right vein and feel of what the stories were. That you should celebrate that. It's just giving you more to look at. It's just like the Star Wars expanded universe. It's what made it so good is I can enjoy these characters in the universe and not take away from the real story that was out there.
You definitely should. I still think people will get mad about it, though.
Well, that is just my opinion. As long as they do a good job where they don't hurt or do anything that destroys the current canon, I don't understand why anybody would take offense to it unless the game itself is bad. But from the story perspective, you should be like, heck yeah, I want more of that. I always am sad when I finish an anime or a series and I'm kind of like, but it's over. Heck, I felt that way to a degree when I finished watching all of Red vs. Blue. You know, the Halo series where it's on Netflix. I watched all the seasons. I thought there were more, they were making more, and then when they finished it, I was kind of like, oh, they actually finished this. It's done.
Well, that's always really sad when that happens, you're right.
Yeah, because it's like...
The worst is when with stories, in my opinion, like literary stories, I don't know why, that really hits me, because it feels more personal when it's inside your mind, you know, when you're reading it. So, when you lose that, I get really sad. I'm just like, I miss the characters, I miss my friends.
Yep. No, you get pretty invested in the characters that you run into and you read, and so I'm excited for this because they talk about, you know, that 1999 Afro Samurai, the manga was turned into a television series that was written in '99 and it came out in 2007, and they made a new version, movie in 2009, and they were all very well done and a lot of success in them. So this is a franchise that, now granted, the stories in a way kind of ended. And so I'm hoping they'll be able to go and continue more of it because I thought the characters were great. And so, and unlike traditional movies and stuff, anime games tend to do decent. They're usually much truer to the source material. Well, so like the Naruto fighting games are really good. There's some discussion about certain games that have come out that aren't the greatest, but a lot of the anime ones have been great. And again, I think it's because you don't get a big production company trying to make a movie where you have some different, you know, author or some different person get in there and say, well, I know how to do this better than you. You know, because, you know, exception being like, I think the original, Airbender game that came out was quite bad.
Yes.
But still better than the nonsense that was supposedly a movie. So, yeah.
I was reading a forum one day where somebody said they liked that. They got banned.
Which is appropriate, because as much as we are geeks and try to be inclusive, no, if you like the movie Airbender from Shyamalan Ding Dong, then yeah, you fail. Go away.
I think I said it was good as a standalone thing because he hadn't seen the series, but I didn't even like it then, and I watched the series afterwards, and I fell offended at that point.
So I did hear a few people said it wasn't bad when they saw it standalone and hadn't seen the series.
And then you befriended them and beheaded them, yes?
Well, no, I just kind of said, well, come talk to me again after you've actually watched the series and you know what you're talking about. Which point they did, and they were like, oh, that's bad. It's like, yep, that's what it is. So, yeah. Oh,
totally
so
agree. Totally agree.
back to you, sir. What do you have to follow up upon the
Sure.
discussion of Afro Samurai?
UV-powered blood test could make universal cancer detection possible. Early detection is the best tool to fight cancer, but biopsies can be painful and inconclusive and invasive. New research shows, and also a copy to tell your sexy mother I said hello. New research shows how a simple blood test can detect cancers by blasting white blood cells with UV and seeing how they respond. Painless and universal. Well, they say painless. She waved at me hello. She didn't look too happy. And seeing how they respond.
Next
Painless,
time,
universal.
copy, tell her if she comes in with her head a little more, or her hair a little more red, it'll be a whole better reaction.
Painless universal cancer detection could be a drop of blood away. More or less painless, yeah. Researchers at the University of Bradford tested patients with melanoma, colon cancer, and lung cancer alongside patients with non-cancer illnesses and healthy control patients. They found the DNA in cancer patients' white blood cells is easily damaged by long-wave ultraviolet A waves. White blood cells from cancer-free patients were not nearly as susceptible, while cells from patients with pre-cancerous conditions showed an intermediate response. The team says normal illnesses like cold or flu shouldn't lead to false positive test results. So, Dr. Diana Anderson, who led the research, explained to the BBC, this is again from Gizmodo by the way, why she went down this investigative path. White blood cells are part of the body's natural defense system. We know that they are under stress when they are fighting cancer cells or diseases, so I wondered whether anything measurable could be seen if we put them under further stress with UVA light. So it's good that they're progressing this, and I personally find this quite key because, you know, it is medical and science, and that is awesome. So that's something I'm interested in, along with the whole Ebola thing. I want to see how the progress of that is as well in the future.
The fact that, you know, we were joking with the Ebola thing coming out, where, you know, patient or one of the lead doctors in Africa, essentially American, had contracted Ebola from being in the hospital and try to work on things or wherever the conditions were. So the first thing we as Americans do is bring him back to our country.
Yep.
And thus the beginning of the zombie apocalypse and patient zero. But no, apparently he's doing quite well as they're getting through things now. But that was someone joked about that, but I kind of thought to it like, oh man, that's not the best idea, is it? To just say, hey, you see that disease that kills people? You got that, right? And it's really bad. Hey, let's bring you back over here so we can fix that, and you totally not infect everyone else in the world.
Yeah, a few people said that's a bad idea, and they got kind of condemned. Like, how can you leave a fellow American out there? And I see where they're coming from. You'd like to think that your country will protect you at any cost, sort of thing. But in reality, you know, I personally think that the controlling and protecting the lives of all those millions, if not billions, of people. Well, actually, it's
everybody else.
I think it's 800 million people in the US. Is a bit less important, well, a bit more important than that one guy. You know, even if he is a researcher, that sucks. But you know what? When he goes out and he is protecting those lives, he's taking the risk. That's the whole point of the sacrifice. Is he's taking that risk of his own life. And yes, that's a risky topic because I'm saying whose lives better than others. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying one guy is less important than millions.
Unless it's me, in which case, no, you need to do everything you can to save me because, otherwise, what does it really matter if everyone else?
I'd just be like, send me the part, and I'll go out in the way I came in. He died doing what he loved.
Yeah, exactly. Wait.
Send me the hentai.
Whoa, hey. Yeah, as well as the iPad flashlight adapter. But anyhow.
No. That stuff freaks me out, man. That is weird. Oh, no, thank you.
And just to be sure that you really enjoy it, we'll make sure we cover the case with fur.
And a ponytail.
But don't worry, it'll be red fur. And
oh, man.
We are horrible people. We should not talk about things like this in an episode that is going to contain good people like Molly.
Yeah, we've just degraded her a little bit, haven't we? Sorry.
Sorry. Now you realize what's really going on with Show X.
X.
Yeah, exactly. The Triple X Show X. Okay.
But that's very interesting that they're doing all these treatments and stuff, and that's good. I'm glad they're trying to find, as they say, prevention is always better than cure, right? So, and that's something I know is a bit controversial again, and I'm sorry to bring it up, but I've always found it really silly that for some reason we have doctors that are there to fix things that are wrong, right? And if you're rich, you get things scanned as much as you want to. But if you have a dent, I don't know about in the US actually, but here you get a dentist treatment and like checkup every 6 months because you got to do that to make sure your teeth are always healthy and they can tell what's wrong when you can't. That's the same with all medicine, not just your teeth. So why the hell don't they do that? Why don't we have like 6 monthly checkups all the time in every country? Like they can afford it. Like why not?
For us in the U.S., what we tend to have is they suggest, but because it's your right and you do what you will, that people use their insurance or whatever they have to get a checkup at least once a year. And dentists, they usually suggest every 6 months. I haven't gone for like a year and I'm being bad about it. But when I did go, it was like every 3 or 4 months I would go in for a checkup for my dentist, and I've been a little bad about my physicals and such as well. But it's talked about as being a good idea. The problem we run into in the United States, because we don't have like a universal health care or anything like that, is you pretty much need insurance or you're going to have to pay out your rear. Yeah. But one of the differences here, and I don't know if this is how it works for you, is because everything we have is covered by insurance and costs on its own, we essentially say that we need is doctors or organizations, I'll say organizations more than individual doctors, although they can be influenced, will work hard to ensure that they try to look up everything they possibly can at you and thus charge you for every treatment they get, because they know most of those treatments are not coming out of your pocket but are coming out of the insurance company's pocket. And so it's this kind of bad game they play in our healthcare society here, where you may go in for something that seemed routine or a little emergency procedure where they barely did anything to you, but because they opened the sterilized bag on a tool that they never ended up using, you still basically buy that tool. Yep. It's not like you just pay for it to be rinsed off and covered with some alcohol. You actually buy like a new tool every time. Which reminds me, by the way, just like when I get cars done and such, I really want to do things where it's like, hey, and now I want all those parts back. Everything that I paid for, I want.
Well, even if they're broken, right? They're still technically yours. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I've done that before, because the suggestion when you get a mechanic stuff work to know that they've changed something that you might otherwise not see, that you need to go in there and say, I want to see my bad parts. And that way they can show you that, yes, they replaced them with good ones in the boxes and stuff like that. So why not with your medical profession as well? Hey, yeah, you pulled out some bad cancer cells from me. I want those. That's mine. Whatever the case may be. Hey, according to this, you used 3 scalpels and this medical tubing on me. I want all of it. Don't throw it out. I want that. I'm taking it home. Don't worry about it.
Mine. Give me my damn scalpel. What? Yeah, that makes sense. That does make a lot of sense. Anyway, sir, what is your article?
Let me see.
I'll put you on the spot here.
Yes, to see the things I have that are older here. See, there's some good ones that are just kind of like general discussions. One of which, and actually, this one is not direct. This will lead me into 2 pieces, and just in time, since we do have a Gnomewise that's already up in the tubes and interwebs and such, so they will be coming on directly after us. Hopefully talk some more things about what they were doing at Wootstock and everything. But talking about the Oculus Rift. There's this one that a person did, I don't know if I'd mentioned before, where he essentially set up 2 GoPro cameras on a stick behind his head and used it live with an Oculus Rift to create a third-person view of himself walking in the world. Essentially, a third-person real-time camera of real life.
So that's pretty cool.
Third-person view. And in doing so, like I say, it's a bit silly as a concept, but what I really wanted to talk about from it was that in Oculus News, there was a recent breakout of the Oculus on the iFixit site. And so the new Oculus Dev Kit has recently been started to get shipped out to the world, and unfortunately, no, I'm not getting one, because as many people have said, if you already have Dev Kit 1, unless you are actively building games and such for that, you really don't need to get the new Dev Kit, and wait for the release version to come out. But when they did the teardown and they did a discussion of the Oculus Rift 2, one of the interesting things that came out of it, and for all you Android phone users, maybe you already know this, Kuro might, they essentially said that in the tools, the new screen they're using is really nothing more than a Samsung cell phone screen. And I want to specifically say it's a screen, it doesn't say on that one which one it is. But it says, it's somewhere in this article where I'm trying to read into it, but it says a low persistence 5.7-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 960 by 1080 per eye, which is an upgrade from the previous. So essentially, it's a 1080p screen with almost that just cuts the 1920 in half, and so they did get a 1080p screen in there, so it ups the speed up. They also it's got a latency that's reduced where they have a 75 hertz refresh on it, where it used to be 60, and that screen is on the phone is defaulted to 60. And so they've done a bit of tweaking with it to basically overclock the display, which I thought was pretty cool. Other things they did, they basically they pull it all the way apart and let you kind of review what hardware they put into it. Slick too, because they added all the IR pieces that essentially illuminate with all lights around it, along with a sensor now that they add with it so you can do positional tracking outside of just turning your head around. You can actually see if you lean or turn and stuff like that. And so they show that it had like 40 IR illuminators that are attached to it that from the outside you don't see because it's IR light, right? But you turn on an IR camera and they're big, bright, and beautiful. And so I'm really excited. They did say it weighs slightly more than the original, but they've decreased a lot of the things where instead of you having this big breakout board you have to use, it has a direct connection to a mini. They basically put all the electronics on board with it now. It used to be on like the version I have, they have a whole separate box that you plug everything into. Now it's all contained on the actual Oculus VRs, so there's less. You just have to run cords from it now, and it has basically a DCN as well as an HDMI cable. So theoretically, you could run wireless HDMI as well as a power supply, a power support on it, and connect it and have a hands-free wireless version, or essentially not hands-free, but a wireless version. Like they're on the track that they could probably do that. So throwing it out there, I think it's very neat that they added in that bit about just seeing that they're finally getting out there in the wild and that they are being revised, and hopefully we'll still see a release version no later than next year. Please, 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 I want my Oculus. So that's what I have, sir. We have 5 minutes left in the show right now. Do we want to bring up another article or anything else going on before we get ready to transition it over?
Let's just discuss stuff that we feel like, because that's always fun. So we have the friggin' game night tonight. So straight after the show, anybody who's unknown to us, friends of Molly Lewis and likes, and I know there's some of you out there, feel free to come join us in our Ventrilo. We tend to play some games after the show, every Sunday. And what we do is we jump in, we usually have a multiplayer game or a bunch of single-player games, and we all just sit together, hang out, and have a bit of fun. Nothing too serious, so don't worry too much. It's not going to scare you. We're all very nice people here at VTW. And if not, if you're not in the mood to do some gaming with us, or you're already doing some other shiz out and about, that's fine. You can go listen to some of the other shows on VTW. We have, for example, not even on VTW, our friends over at Alpha Geek Radio are on next with Mr. Gnomewise, who's hanging in the video wall right now. We have other shows on podcasts you can go listen to, or you can go frequent our forums, check out our art contest, go like us on Facebook and Twitter, and maybe email into the show for next week if you'd like to tell us that you're a new listener and you're like, hey, you guys are cool. How did you talk to Molly Lewis? Oh my god. Anything you want. Anything you want like that would be cool. We appreciate any emails or anything like that. That's all on my part, sir. Is there anything you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, well, in general, I really do appreciate all the help I've had recently on keeping things alive on the network. I want to throw a big shout out to my friend Cryptic, who is basically a pseudo-admin that's joined in. He's a friend of mine that I've known for years, who has hosted some forums and things like that of his own over the years, and has been helping me out and kept us alive and running when things broke on us. So a big shout out to him for helping with that. A shout out to all of my friends who participated in this weekend of Game Festing that I'm hoping we'll capture and be able to give you a special episode just about Game Fest, have Paz and El Campo and everyone like that on again. We really didn't want to muddle things up by having both a live open Game Fest show where you never know what you're going to get, along with having the wonderful and lovely Miss Molly Lewis on, because that's too much amazing geekiness in one place at one time.
Definitely.
So, unfortunately, yes, we did have to split things out just a wee bit. Beyond that, I would say keep an eye out for anything that may be coming up for changes in network. Also, maybe some potential lineup things that could happen as we go forward and have just some discussions with all the different shows. We've got some great ideas and want to expand as much as, we love having all of your attention. We think there's enough time for others to participate in as well. So
definitely.
We're hoping that you'll be able to look forward and see things like that. Remind your friends, by the way, that, hey, VTW exists, and there are shows here that they, too, may like to listen to. We know you like to keep us all to yourselves, but don't. We can share. There's a lot of us digitally to be shared about. So get out there.
So much for us to go around.
Yes, retweet our tweets. Talk to people that you know directly. Heaven forbid, if you go to a convention, it would be a wonderful time to throw out there some of the things that you participate in, like our gaming nights and just the shows themselves. We don't advertise, and so those of you out there are there to help us grow and become a better thing, so word of mouth is our friend. With that going in, Ken, would you like to tell them all the ways they can follow us and keep track of the shows here on BTW before we hand things off?
I guess I could do that. I never did it before, but you can send us in tweets. Send them to @VTWShowX for the show itself, @GoHex for myself, and @DocDead for Mr. Wayne here. Also, you can send in emails to the show, showx@VTWProductions.com. That's showx@VTWProductions.com. Give us some feedback. Tell us what you think. Tell us, I don't know, what your geek cred's been, any our culture particularly interested in, anything like that. It's all welcome. Go like us on Facebook, facebook.com, type in ShowX at the top, and you'll find us. Give us a like. We are sitting on 700 right now. We're just hovering there. Let's improve that a little bit, guys. Let's get up there. Let's get up there. 1,000 is the goal for one day. One day! You can also check out the art contest. That'll be updated very shortly, actually, in the coming next couple of days. We'll be doing it again. Go and check out all the other shows, as mentioned beforehand. There are so many good shows in the station. So many good guys. Some up and coming, some been there for years. Some great, great people. And finally, thanks and good night.
And that is very good time. So with that, you've been listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com, and we will catch you again next week. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you for listening.
Goodbye. See you next zombie. Good night. Also, God.